Welcome back to this week's edition of Two Coaches, One Grizz. I'm your host, Frank Morales, with our coach emeritus, Gil Laura, our resident superfan, Mario the Grizz Mesa, and our esteemed producer on the ones and twos, Anthony A.C. Carabata. Ladies and gentlemen, we have entered the best time of the year. And in this time of year, as we approach the fall, our beloved sport of football has not disappointed. It is very much so, in every sense of the word, a soap opera across the league. It's a jam-packed show. We got a lot to talk about, gentlemen. And it's we may not even get through all of it. That's how much news that we have going into as we approach the season here. Coach, how we doing?
Brother, it is a great time of the year. It's Christmas time. It's Christmas time. Come early. Thrilled that football season is right around the corner. There it is. The children.
Very nice.
Are all, trick daddies for the children. But
trick a lot of kids.
But yes, thankfully, glad to be here as usual. And another. It's been a tough week. I'm not gonna lie. It's been a tough week, but blessed to be able to be here and to be able to take part in all the wonderful things I've taken part of this week. It's been quite exhausting. And we start school tomorrow. Hey, baby.
Hey, baby. Grizz?
We're back, baby.
Oh, we're back.
We're back.
We are back.
Football was played this weekend. Real football. I mean, didn't count on the schedule, but players were hitting each other. Some went down, unfortunately, that we'll be talking about. But we're back every week for the next 5 to 6 months. Strap it on, guys. You goddamn right you say it. Hallelujah, baby. We're ready to go.
Where do we even start? We're gonna pick it out of the air, and we're gonna go straight to the land of 1,000 lakes here, Minnesota. Right now, a little bit of a QB battle, right? By all accounts, Sam Darnold has also been looking great, but JJ McCarthy,
sir, there was no battle.
Progression
there was no
was
battle.
going.
There was no
Jace,
battle.
Sir, I am going by accounts. I'm not talking firsthand. I'm going off of what I read, that he also looked good. They paid him $10 million. He was going to start the season, but JJ McCarthy, obviously the heir apparent, not so much so anymore.
He looked good. Let me tell you, man. The rookies played nice last week. Caleb and him. JJ had some nice drives, had some nice throws. For all intents and purposes, McCarthy looked like, we're going to be all right as a backup for a few weeks.
We need to, this is a show of accountability. I want to strike it in the record that we need to go back because my guy over here
I thought he sucked.
Gave me some serious mierda about me vying for that guy.
I'll say it again. I thought he sucked.
All right, just,
I mean, how many throw passes did he throw in college? 57?
I appreciate that
in 3 years?
I appreciate that you owned it.
I thought he sucked. He had a decent, but then what happened? Kaboom! He goes back to sucking. His knee's hurt. He's out for the rest of the year.
Best ability is availability.
Have a good one, baby.
So I don't know what the. So I guess this just popped right in the last couple hours. He will miss the season after surgery.
I figured he
tore
would.
his meniscus.
No, but I think there was also a little bit of damage to one of the ligaments as well.
Well, so there's kind of layers to the meniscus, right? Like if it's on the edge and you can just take out that piece, it's a 3-4 week, maybe a couple months, you're out. But if they have to go in there and it's a bucket handle or a flap tear and they got to go and actually sew it back, then you got to immobilize that leg, right? 6 to 8 weeks before you can even start rehab again. And I think it's looking like that's where, where he's at for all intents and purposes.
Again, Dr. Morales. Again, I'm just trying to let you know.
I'm just personal experience, just letting you know.
He needs some milk.
He needs some milk.
Hey, baby.
He needs some milk. Again, personal experience. How many things did you get hurt?
I got a lot.
You're constantly talking about the shoulder, the leg, and knee.
A lot of things. Meniscus and MCL
Jesus.
and the left knee.
Guy.
It still clicks and clacks every now and then. But that's the price you pay for the sport that we love, right? Talk to me. What do you think?
I feel bad for the kid. He was just saving it, Gil, for 3 years. He was just hiding his performances, ready to go,
Could be right.
Jim Harbaugh had a certain way of doing things over there, wanted to run the ball, save that arm for the NFL. He knew what was happening. Fortunately, the kid goes down. Now he's going to have is he going to be able to play throughout his career, injury-prone guy? Because you get hurt one time. That's it. That's all it takes. Will you be there for me? I still think he has the future of leading the team next year.
Yeah,
He probably wasn't going to play even if he looked good the first week.
I mean,
at the end of the day,
for goodness sakes, the guy that's going to start sucks also. So I mean, yeah, but he'll be the next guy in.
But who knows? Maybe Darnold, finally has the receiver.
Guy is just
he's going to have the greatest receiver he's ever going to have.
Hater.
So there's a
when
chance.
in doubt, throw it up to JJ.
I mean, there's still probably going to be like a 5-6 win team max. Today. But
Addison tweaked an ankle today.
Yeah.
So I mean, again, listen.
Next man up.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah. So, again, rough because I big McCarthy fan, and you could even like in his post game interview, you could hear essence of Harbaugh, right? In his it's a great learning experience, and like what'd you think on that throw in the pick? It's a great learning experience for me. It's like you can hear the Harbaugh isms coming out from him. So I mean, we're gonna miss that. Again, minor setback, major comeback. I think he's still got a solid 10-15 year career ahead of him. But yeah, definitely a blow right to the gut to the Minnesota Vikings fans, especially after they paid the man, and they were hoping that it was going to be big things there. But let's see what Darnold can do with them. Moving right along. Oh, which one do we want to pull out the air here next, fellas? Do we want to go with here we go. Behind door number 2, Pat's deal, Pro Bowl linebacker, Judon to the Falcons. What are your thoughts there? I mean, was the writing on the wall?
They're going to suck more now.
Oh, they're definitely going to
suck to begin with. They're going to suck more now. I mean, let me see if I can just go ahead and jump into this over under here.
He was the only piece on that defense that was worth a damn over the past couple years. Just call it what it is. Grizz has got this grin on him. He's got I can feel the energy.
I'm just curious to see how this team plays for the next few years. All this success for those beautiful people up there in the great state of Massachusetts. I'm so happy to know that they're going to be terrible for a long, long time. They're going to be in the basement. I mean, the Jets are going to give them a shot because, I still think the Jets are going to suck this year no matter what because they're the Jets. They'll do Jet things. But even the Jets can't suck as much as what the Patriots are about to get into. So very excited.
So it's an interesting situation up there, right? They have by far the most cap space in the league this year. And
all those years of never paying Tom Brady.
Well, that has nothing to do with it now, but I tried to lure several free agents to them over the offseason.
No Tom Brady.
Brand new head coach, right? So you think changing of the guard maybe would entice a couple, some NFL players to be like, oh,
not the greatest
not
coach
there.
And not the greatest quarterback. I want nothing to do with Boston, Massachusetts.
I don't think, I don't think that Belichick being there scared guys away. I really don't.
There was dudes there even said they went there for business to get a ring, but they did not enjoy their time there.
Okay, but that doesn't mean that you get scared away and you're not going to go. You're going to go win a ring.
Grown man.
Now there's no chance of you winning a ring. Now you go there to suck.
I think it was on McAfee, right? They said it's why would you want to go there? It's cold, the taxes are high, and now they're going to suck. You're like, what's the incentive?
When they were good and winning Super Bowls and having a chance every year, worth it.
Right.
Now, we're going to take a little break from
I'm going to stay warm. It's a couple, latitudes a little bit lower.
See, the thing is, their over-under is 4.5. I mean, going 5-13 is really bad. 4-14 is even.
4-13
holy crap.
is terrible.
4-14 is horrendous.
My
17 games. 4-13.
My thing is, I want to know kind of what happened behind closed doors, right? Like Judon had that little tit for tat with the coach during practice. Sent him off the field, and then they said, "Oh, we had a great conversation. Everything's good, etc." and so on. I mean, clearly, conversation.
He's learning early. Typical coach speak. Everything's fine to the media in house. Keep it in there, but you know what? Bye.
I think Mayo's going to be worse relationship-wise than Belichick.
Wow.
That's a hot take.
I'm telling you.
That's got sizzle to it, coaching.
I really do believe that this guy... Again, if you take a look at the time that Belichick was there, when Belichick and the Patriots would let a guy go or the guy left, his time was done. He was really he was ready for the glue factory.
No, now it's you leave the Patriots, you're going to make another team better.
My thing, like, again, nobody of this caliber would ever leave the Patriots when Belichick was there.
A year early rather than a year late.
I'm just, no, it doesn't matter. Like,
Right.
they would not, like, he would not, if they were at the top of their game and age and all, notice that those guys didn't go anywhere. They stayed. He figured out how to talk to them, the work, whatever it was. But he had a relationship where those guys stayed. It was like Nick Saban and stuff in college. I'm telling you, listen,
So-
it's very underrated. It really, really is underrated.
So I look at it from this perspective, right? I think OJ, or his Mayo's first misstep here is approaching it as a former player, right? I think that may have been an issue there, like approaching him as a former player, like if you're going to be sitting on a garbage can, you need to go the F inside, like you're kind of showing up your teammates in this respect. Where I think, as you said, Belichick would do some Jedi mind tricks to him and approach it a little bit differently. But I think that's partly, just a derivative of being a young head coach, former player, where you still got that juice, that fire.
But again, I go back to the record of the Belichick guys. That the Belichick guys try to be like Belichick, but I don't know what it is, and they screw it up. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
The Belichick guys try to be that, and they
I agree wholeheartedly with
it.
that. Right, like when the biggest mistake I think they tried to do is try to be a facsimile of him. Right? But here's the problem. When you make too many copies of something, right, it becomes fuzzier and fuzzier and fuzzier.
But it's not even too many copies. It's just every copy is sucked.
You kind of have to insert your own DNA there, right? The best one is with the Raiders, the head coach that got fired.
The OC, McDaniels,
right? Like he lost that locker room mid-season last year.
He lost that locker room before mid-season. Trust me, he went into the season losing that locker room.
What was the name of the guy before in the Detroit Lions a few years ago?
Patricia.
Oh well, yeah,
That was
bad.
terrible.
That was a bad one.
They've all been pretty bad. Charlie White sucked. They've all been bad. The only one that got a little bit was Romeo Crennel. That's the only guy that was a little decent.
So let me ask you this question, right? You have your own coaching tree, right, in the high school ranks, right? You've been around for a really long time. Would you, at that level, would you think that it's kind of like he controlled so much of the program there and every aspect of how offense, defense, special teams, the program was ran, that it kind of hindered development of his coaches? So when they did get that opportunity, it was more so, an effect of the Patriots' success more so than their personal success, right? They were riding those coattails.
No, I think that where they mess up is, like you said a moment ago, was trying to copy Belichick and how they talk and what he says and things like that. You get me? And how he approaches players. Like, I think that when he approaches players in a certain way, he already knows who he can talk to in that fashion.
Right.
And I think he learned that when he was in Cleveland. I think he learned that when he was the Jets. Remember, him getting to the Patriots, he had already gone through 3 NFL teams.
Right.
So he had already fallen on his face in Cleveland. He already sucked there. So by the time he got back and got to New England, got his chance in New England, he was a different guy. He was still stoic with the press and things like that, but I think he had a better pulse of how to talk to the guys and when to push buttons and when not to push buttons. And that's why I think that, again, the whole Brady situation lasted so long, and they only got off of Brady because they felt Brady was done, which he wasn't. But I mean, what can I tell you?
Well, let's go to the next topic. Staying in the AFC East, what the hell's going on with the Jets? Again, I know a topic that makes our contingent here happy as Dolphins fans, but the dude hasn't even stepped foot in the building once for the initial press conference, and then has already requested a trade. Hasn't even practiced. Not even
because
a nanosecond.
Because they effed that up. They traded for him without getting the contract squared away before he got there. That's why he left Philadelphia. He left Philadelphia because he wanted an exorbitant amount of money or whatever.
Well, Philadelphia knew that they weren't going to be able to pay him because he was going to command
but
top pass rusher money, which is $28 to $30 million a year.
If you trade for the guy, then you got to have an idea of what you're going to have to sign the guy for.
The expectation is you trade for him, you're probably going to have to pay him.
So here's my
why is this not happening?
So here's my pushback to that, right? Usually, from our experience, right, we're NFL and we're football guys. Usually when these trades happen, that deal is in place via handshake, right? It's not like the NBA where you do sign and trades, right? Like that's not really a thing here. Very rarely does that happen in the NFL where there's a sign and a trade, right? I think it's happened once in the last couple, 3 or 4 years, something to that effect. Most of the time, this stuff happens handshake. Listen, we're going to give you your money. You come in, be the good soldier. They didn't even get to that point. There was gentleman's agreement. Apparently Hassan Reddick is no gentleman.
But that's why I said there was no gentleman's agreement. I think that they traded for him and put the cart in front of the horse.
With the expectation
that they could be able to work something out without really sitting down with the agent and saying, "Hey, Grizz, what does your boy want? What exactly is he looking at?" Because that's my whole contention. If I'm going to trade for the guy, we're in open trade talks. I got to reach out to the agent to find out how many years, at what price, can we really do it?
This is just a Jet thing, man.
No, it is.
This is such a Jet thing.
Definitely.
How do you bungle this up? You trade for a great player, right? Knowing you're going to have to pay him. And already the guy wants to leave, bro. It's just such a Jet thing to do. That's why, I have no... I don't even want to say the things I want to say, really, because, if there
we're a family show. We're a family show.
Not
please,
even families, would be bothered by this. It's just... They're just so damn terrible. Why don't we have, soccer? This is the type of team that needs to be regulated. Just get away for a few years. Go away. And then we would never even get you back because we'd forget about you that quickly.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it just goes to show you they're going to be going into week 1 at San Francisco, thinking that they're this hotness, Aaron Rodgers is back. It's going to be a rude awakening, man. I mean, just bad things are coming for the Jets.
I mean, I'm not gonna say that because they are loaded in a lot of other positions. Their O-line, their offensive line is much better than it was last year. Obviously, barring another major injury, Aaron Rodgers is a G. We know that.
Certain teams like the Jets, like the Cowboys, just get in their own way. No matter how talented you are, it's just this thing that just hangs over their head. It's the law. Something will go wrong eventually. And it's starting right now. You know what I'm saying? Last year it started first 4 plays of the game. We haven't even got into, it's first week of preseason. Homie wants to go bye-bye. Come on. And let's get back to the quarterback real quick. He still doesn't look like he's 100% still in it. You know what I'm saying? He comes in looking a little...
but the dude's always been kind of aloof and in his own kind of octave.
Are you disparaging Aaron Rodgers?
I know, and it's sad because
I'm a big
fan of Aaron Rodgers when he was a Packer.
Sir,
but I was listening to on the Levitard. I was listening to I love my Levitard. Listening to I forgot who the guy was, but wrote a book about him. Something about the
it was like an unapproved biography of Aaron Rodgers.
But it's true. Ever since COVID, the guy's changed. In the last 4 years, he's had such a different take in life, and he's and let me tell you, he partakes in some things I'm okay with, but his mind is not 100% in this team. I'm telling you.
You do ayahuasca one too many times. What do you think's going to happen?
The other day, he's been in practice. He's been working with the team. He's done everything. He's even been pushing the players.
There was a little scuffle you saw in practice that he had with one of the receivers.
I'm going to do a Francisco. I'm going to push back on that. I'm going to push back on that idea because again, I have read, I have seen a lot of different things that tell me that he is bought in.
He's just locked in his own way,
and that he's doing what it takes for them to win.
He's not what he used to be. 100%.
Nobody is at 40 years old.
Not his physical abilities. I'm saying his mental. He's not Tom Brady-esque in that. Tom Brady every year came in ready to rock and roll, ready to win. I think Aaron Rodgers has already passed the.
But how do you know he's not locked in winning? The way that Brady showed it, he, fierce competitor, fire, all that stuff. This dude's a dog.
I know. I think he's better than Brady, obviously, talent-wise. Like,
I mean,
one
yeah,
of the greatest,
best, like,
one of the
athletically
greatest,
speaking,
athletically,
yes.
you know, like he's
Yes.
I mean,
how I can argue Dan Marino
arm as well.
How I can argue Dan Marino is still, to be honest, I think one of the top 5 greatest of all time. Just athletically, the way he can throw the ball and just like you build a quarterback for. That's what you built,
Right, in that era, yes.
And I see that in Aaron Rodgers, even better than Dan Marino, and he's got the Super Bowl, which that right there. As long as you got if Dan Marino had one ring, you know you'd be talking about him all.
It validates.
You got at least one ring, you can have that conversation.
Right.
So Aaron Rodgers had 4 or 5 though. You know,
I mean,
that's
he's been
problem. Every year he kind of like gives you that like playoff choke, man. Which
I wouldn't call it a playoff choke, man. He's been to 5 NFC championships, and like some of them has had absolutely no. Like if it wasn't for the freaking fumbleitis and the muffed onside kick, they're in the Super Bowl. They probably win that Super Bowl.
He's not had his best games in those games. He's not.
I mean, he's been to.
No, but
He gets to a certain point. But you got to win, man.
I get.
He should have won.
I get that.
At least I say he should have won 2 more.
But he's in that Peyton Manning, Drew Brees mold where they drag these teams along. Right? Like Peyton Manning, 12-4 to whatever it was, 12-5 AFC South champs. You know, and AFC championship, all that stuff, and then he has the neck injury, out for the season. 2-14, and they draft Andrew Luck. Right? Like that was the impact of a Peyton Manning on that team. And then what does he do? He goes to the Broncos and they go to the Super Bowl. In year 1, he passes for 55 touchdowns, breaks the record. You know what I'm saying? Like that is when you're of that caliber, that is the impact that you have. And Rodgers was of that ilk when he was at Green Bay. Like he dragged those teams along.
But what did he drag? Who's in the? He's playing against when the Lions were the Lions.
Grizz.
The Bears always sucking. The Vikings gave him a little.
Grizz.
They own that.
I think
division.
I think it's like 60 or 70% of his career. His defenses were in the bottom half of the league.
division. Yes,
Once again, like a Marino-esque type. Never had that.
They own the division. They own the division.
Yeah.
But the conference was a good conference.
Yeah, but they still.
So
They chucked away there. They lost all their games at home. Every game that they lost was that they had were those home games.
Again, respectfully disagree. I mean, it's an ultimate team sport.
It is.
And he dragged them to that point, kind of like a LeBron type situation.
I'm a big fan of Aaron Rodgers, but
Now, if you're talking about the
should have
last,
had 3-4 championships in his resume. Should have.
not all his fault.
Yeah.
I'll give you 1 or 2.
That's the problem. Like, I can't say anything now because either it's not your fault. You know, he's got a team sport, but now I'm paying you. Like, you own the team. You get all the money. You got to get all the criticism sometimes.
Oh, no.
That's what I'm saying.
I agree. I agree 1,000%.
Once again, I'm very, very pro on Aaron Rodgers. The fact that he's a Jet, whatever, bro. End your career however you want to. Going to be like Brett Favre, basically. But the problem is... he's just not the same guy 100%. It doesn't matter what you say. You can't convince me. He's going to still be out there motivating, looking like, but he knows it's over, bro. 1 more year, 2 more years. Like, I'm ready to go. If it happens. He's going to give it his all. But he's like, it's okay if it doesn't happen.
All right.
And Tom Brady, as much as I'm not the Tom Brady fan like I am an Aaron Rodgers fan, till the last second, would be trying to squeeze out anything he could to win any game to get to the next point.
I hear you.
The guy's frustrated now just watching games, probably like, oh my God.
I mean, he could probably start for
robot.
He could probably start for 5 or 6 teams right now.
He could get you to a playoff still right now.
But they're different guys, bro. They're different guys. Listen, don't forget that. First of all, Tom Brady played at Michigan. Big Ten football.
Correct.
Big Ten football. Okay. Aaron Rodgers played at
California.
At California. Laid back. It's a different deal. We're going to sling it around. This is what we do. We're just chilling. And that's how Aaron Rodgers is.
Wasn't Brady raised in California?
No, listen.
Didn't he want to be a
Bay Area kid?
His mindset was still
he was a Big Ten guy, but he was like...
He was a Big Ten guy.
Bo Schembechler.
Nah, Bo was
that
coach.
Or was that Lloyd Carr already?
No,
at that
Lloyd
point?
Carr was his coach.
Was either Lloyd or Bo?
Or was he in
But
that transition?
I think he started with Bo and then he
No.
finished with Lloyd. I'm not sure.
No, Bo.
I'd have to see that.
Definitely no Bo.
Well,
There was another guy before, after Bo. before Lloyd Carr.
Was there? Yeah. Well, we'll we'll go to our crack research staff and we'll figure it out.
I don't think we need to.
Yeah, no.
Move on.
So you mentioned the next point or the next topic we want to move on to. You mentioned Murphy's Law. What can go wrong will go wrong, right? You put the Jets and the Cowboys in the same the same category. So here's my question, right? Before we get into the whole CeeDee Lamb situation, is like, you know how like at a certain age you're like, okay, abuelo, give me your license. Like you can no longer drive. Like, when are they going to do that with Jerry Jones and the microphone?
Sorry, Gary Mulder. Gary Mulder was between
Good job.
Sean Beckler and Lloyd Carr.
There you go.
Gary Mulder.
Good job. But, like, when are they going to do that with freaking Jerry Jones and the microphone?
Not going to lie. This is, you know me, not big in the politics world, but they got to bite in him.
Yeah, no, 1,000%.
We got to just take you out, man.
They got to bite in him.
You got to bite in him, man. You got to, like, hey. Cut it off, man.
Yeah,
Stephen Jones,
censorship.
The son. Hey, the son can put it.
Come here, Poppy. Sit down.
What is he saying that like we're not I'm not in a rush or whatever he said.
Yeah, but we miss you, CD. But not.
You're in the most.
I miss him, but we don't miss him competing.
Right.
Like, what are you talking? Guess the top 5 receiver in the league.
Top 5 receiver. Every receiver's paid. Everybody got paid.
Everybody.
Dolphins paid 2 guys. Not 1, 2.
2.
What's wrong with you, bro? It's the only guy left on your team.
You know
Dak's going to go.
So you know what the problem? When Emmitt Smith, Mr. Cowboy himself, right, like came out and was like, what the F are we doing?
And this is not like the old days where they didn't sign him those first 2 games.
First 2 games and they came,
and then they won a Super Bowl. It ain't going to happen like that.
Can I tell you what's in the back of his mind? The back of his mind is Zeke. He paid Zeke an absurdly stupid amount of money. And in a year and a half, the guy had a flat tire and carried a piano.
Okay, but it's apples and oranges, Coachy.
Running backs.
I'm not.
That's what they're.
Listen, I'm
you're
not
not supposed to
I'm
do
not
with
comparing. I'm not comparing
these receivers.
I'm telling you what's in the back of his mind. In the back of his mind is.
Well, unfortunately, that's why we need to get rid of you, because if that's still in the back of your mind, move on.
There's not much in the front of his mind either.
We're living in a different world where the receivers are.
I could have told you that when he fired Jimmy. I could have told you there was nothing there when he fired Jimmy. That was the stupidest move he ever made.
And he wasn't seen out back then.
Again, that's why I'm saying he didn't have.
And apparently he knew what he was doing because he had. See, sometimes you know how to make billions, but sometimes you don't know how to make
but that's all.
Other confident choices.
That's all arrogance and hubris at that point.
It still is. It always is. That's what he is. He's full of.
Not only that, it affected my team because I didn't want Jimmy at that time either.
So here's my thing.
Terrible play.
Is you don't be talking shit about Dak Prescott if you ain't giving him the goods. You know what I'm saying?
But now I think that's where they're going to go. I think they're going to spend the money on Dak. That's the situation.
Where are you going to spend the money on Dak if you don't got the dude to throw it to?
It doesn't matter. That's not the thought process. The thought process is about the quarterback. If you have the quarterback, you have the opportunity.
And you know what was funny? Like 3 or 4 years ago, we were like, hey, we're going to pay Dak. Oh my God, we got to pay him so much money. Then they paid him so much money, but now that money was like so distant.
Just infinitesimal.
Then I got to pay him a whole lot of money again.
The receivers are making more than what he got paid. Now I got to throw him more money, but not give him anybody to throw.
Correct.
So he can really earn that money.
Yeah, like it just doesn't. Like once again, the perfect situation of what the Patriots had with not having to pay your quarterback that much money and being able to like every now and then plug in players. We're never going to see that again because everybody's so greedy and wants to make the top, which is fine. We all want the money. But if you're going to sacrifice that, I'm not going to be able to throw you anybody. If you pay all the money to all the other players, you're not going to have a quarterback.
So here's the crux of the matter, right? Like
that's what we've been talking. That has been my argument.
That's how you have to find the happy medium.
That's exactly it.
So here's my thing. I think, right? Like again, my personal opinion. There's no fact behind this. It's just anecdotal. If you were to put the dudes around Dak, right? I feel like Dak is the type of dude.
Dudes around Dak.
I feel like Dak is the type of dude to be like, all right, I'll give you a break. But now that you're not doing that for me and putting my dudes around me, you know what? Give me the $70 million or whatever it is. But I'm going to get hit and I got nobody to throw the ball to. Yeah.
But I'm getting money.
Exactly.
Once again.
I mean, wouldn't you do the same thing?
It depends what I want to do.
Take your freaking football fiscal conservatism out of it.
No. Listen, no. It depends what I want to do. And that's why I always go back to your championship quarterback. Your quarterbacks that won multiple championships, right? Right now, we've got one guy that went there like 83,000 times, won 57,000 of them. So, I mean, again, and what did he do? He did not sign to be the number one guy. He just needed to be in the top 10 because he could make his money like that.
He was in the top 5. Calm
I'm
yourself.
saying, well, no, but he would go in the bottom 6, 7 sometimes, whatever. Then they move him back up, but he would be 5 to 10. Okay, he would make his money on endorsements. He would make his money other ways. He still got paid. He would still make his money, but he didn't make sure that there was money for the defense. You cannot. Again, we said it last week. I'm gonna say it's the ultimate team sport. You gotta have guys on both sides of the ball. If you don't, like the Grizz just alluded to, we had one of the most incredible. We're talking about Tua and these guys now, bro. In the 80s, Marino would boom, and the Mark brothers would find a way to run under the pass with the most explosive. Don Shula never thought in his life that he would ever have such an explosive offense. That guy was the Zonka guy. 3 yards in a cloud of dust. And we went from that to bombs away. And he could never win a Super Bowl because even with the killer bees, the defense was just not enough. It was just never enough. So
Well,
again, you got to have.
I also would say he never really had a running back that was good complementing. And Marino, unfortunately, just wanted to throw it a little bit more than he wanted to run it.
Chris, nobody ever respected our running game.
I know.
And the problem was they didn't want to take the ball out of Marino's hands.
I know. I
It's
still
like
think
taking
a
the
better
ball-
defense, we win at
Right.
least one.
Oh, that's what I'm saying.
But
Correct. And that's
They
what I'm
would
trying
always
to
say that about the running back spot.
And they tried because they
Until
drafted
his
the
later
Sammy
years,
Smith.
though.
They drafted a bunch of guys.
Right.
But again, I'm just trying to say, in today's football, you have to be somewhat balanced. You can't be one-sided because if you are, look, a Kansas City championship last year is a perfect example of a team that did just enough on offense, and the defense carried them pretty much through the whole
Well, it
season.
was the best defense they ever had.
I
under
mean,
Pat Mahomes.
they also paid,
You give Pat Mahomes his best defense
They
ever?
paid Chris Jones.
Come on.
Yeah, but that's what. But
Right,
again,
right.
when we talk about contracts, Mahomes' contract is a friendly That's what we're. That's what at the end of the day. That's what it's
Long-term
about.
friendly contract.
Correct.
yes.
That's what. At the end of the day, that's what it's about. It's finding that middle ground.
So we're gonna move on to another disgruntled player, right? And it seems, I don't know, my perception of it, right? Not following it as closely as I have in the past. It seems like we're kind of like at one of those long time highs in just unhappy players where they're at, and what they're getting paid, like
Because they're all
and we're
prima donnas.
and we're talking about Ayuk here.
They're prima donnas.
It's still
Everybody's number one, and they're not. They're not. They're not number ones, and that's my problem. Again, Ayuk is a good football player. He's a very, very good receiver. However, in the scheme of what they do in San Francisco, and we talked about it last week, he is a piece. He is a piece to the puzzle. He wants to go and be the number one guy somewhere or be paid as a number one guy. San Francisco's got guys on defense that they got to pay, guys on offense that they got
there's
to
a
pay.
lot of dudes out there. They are in salary cap hell.
Like I said, he is not. And again, we'll see how good he really is when they get him off that team. If they move him and where he lands and who's throwing the ball to him. Because if he goes to Pittsburgh, again, it's him and Pickens, and I don't know who's going to throw the ball. I really don't. I mean, Fields should be the guy. Fields is the one that has the higher ceiling, has everything to gain, whereas Russ is like on the downward trend. Russ is on his way down. So again, you got to build that relationship with Fields. Fields is not greatly accurate, so we got to see if Arthur Smith can do the Tannehill remodel with Justin Fields.
Oof.
I was a big Fields guy last year. Let me down though. However, I think he can be a little better this year with Pittsburgh. He just can't turn the ball over like that. He's I don't know. He's an enigma. I think he's just.
I'm sorry?
Some people think
A duck? Is there a duck? There's a duck in here.
some people that I know
There's a duck
closely
in here?
think he's nothing,
But
just a
duck.
terrible
But a duck.
pick.
He's a duck. One of the guys here thinks he's a duck.
almost saying-
Unless Frankie has a duck in here.
No.
I got nothing.
Okay.
He's playing a little bit.
There he goes
ducky.
again.
There it goes again.
What's going on?
What's going on here?
I just don't. I don't know what else I can say about this guy, because he's just.
I mean, he kept you out of the sackle, so.
Yes, he did. Speaking of the Sacco,
Because you're staring at the
at the toilet
Yeah,
bowl.
well, that's we need a little bit more out of you, bro. We need a little
Participants,
bit more out of
baby.
you.
and it was
Toilet, but it was nip
and it was
tuck
close
all the way.
and it was close.
all the way.
We need a little bit more.
Let
out
me
of
tell you.
I will say in the next few days, we're having a repeat of last year without him on my team. That I can assure you. Spoiler alert. But yeah, I mean, Pittsburgh, if they get Ayuk, I think it'll make him better. You're dealing with a coach that's obviously never been under 500. There's always a chance with this team. They squeezed into the playoffs when they had no reason to last year. Even though, I don't know. Give me. I can't even say it with a straight face, bro. I'm trying to say Fields will lead them to a playoff, but
Wow.
I think they'll end up the usual. I think they'll end up the usual 9-8 out of the playoffs.
Those parlays are
The
getting
Aflac duck is coming
Outside.
around more and more.
I said
Parlays are getting
outside of
to
the playoffs. That's what I'm going to stick with. But they will be 9-8.
Jeez. I don't even know. All right. We're just going to jump into kind of like the last bit here, last topic of our super segment. The Philadelphia Eagles. Is that or is that not the most precarious situation in the NFL right now?
I'm going to tell you something.
It's a weird one.
I really think they're playing off on that, and I think they're letting that out. Man, I really like the Eagles this year.
Dude,
I think the Eagles
should win the division.
I think the
by a
Eagles
mile.
are the team.
Coach is zigging while everybody's zagging?
I'm telling you, I think the Eagles are the team in that division. First of all, no one has repeat champion in that division in like 10 years. They take turns.
100%.
They take turns. So that's number one. Number two, I like the OC position that the OC they brought in. I think that he has a chip on his shoulder, especially when they play the Cowboys. So, and I think that he's a right guy for Justin for Hurts. I think he's perfect for Hurts.
You think so?
I do.
Because with Steichen, it was Steichen, right? What was the OC when they went to the Super Bowl?
Yeah, Steichen, yes. Who's now the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts.
Correct.
Yes.
He accentuated, right, and put an emphasis on the RPO game, which Hurts is a freaking savant at.
Yes.
Right? And put him in those positions where his
Yes.
strengths were on display.
Yes.
Right? Which put him in the running to beat, if it wasn't for one fumble, right, and a stop here or there, he's the Super Bowl MVP.
Yes.
I
think Kellen Moore's going to do the same thing.
You think so? Because
I really
Kellen Moore gets into those funks where he gets real pass happy, Coachy.
Again, I really do think that I think his time in Dallas, he learned a lot, and his time over with the Chargers was also a tumultuous time. So I think that he's in a place where he understands what he has and what he can do. He also, even though Saquon is not at his peak, I also think that's another guy that wants to play with a chip on his shoulder.
Especially in division.
He's a good athlete. He's great from the backfield. They've got receivers. Okay. And again, I know that everybody here poo-pooed on the old man. The old man on the defensive side of the ball is going to have the Philadelphia Eagle defense running around like they have. He's a lot.
Just because the Dolphins fans are they're poopy individuals
I'm just saying,
by nature.
the two coordinators that they have
Yes, I'm
this
looking
year
at you, Grizz.
are real coordinators. The two guys that Sirianni brought in last year were not two real coordinators. These two guys are solid guys, and I like I said, I like their potential. That's one of my quiet teams.
To your point, I think Vic Fangio is he fits the persona of what the Eagles are defensively, right? And I think that's going to be a wholesale change for them. Whereas they took a massive step back last year. They had 75 sacks the year they went to the Super Bowl, and it was less than half of that.
And the old man was there as an
Right.
analyst, and he worked with Gannon. Again, I like where they're at. I really do, because I think everybody's overlooking them, and they're not even being mentioned.
He fits better over there.
He
I'll
does.
give you that.
No, he does.
It's just sometimes the fit doesn't work.
So-
Didn't work down here, work up there.
And by the way, and the defense was good. I mean, our defense was not bad last year here in
It
Miami.
wasn't. It wasn't.
So-
Injuries are
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
just too
Correct.
many exploded ACLs.
Listen, Barkley's going to have one more good year in him, at least, right? It's going to be this year. He's going to have that chip on the shoulder, like Coach said. He's definitely going to have it against you guys twice.
Oh, he's going to run for 750 yards on the Giants.
He's going to put it on you guys.
We're
not going to need to see the.
Take
we're not
the
gonna,
player prop over.
We're not going to need to see the Hurts
All day.
We're not going to need to see that Hurts push
Yes,
anymore
sir.
because Barkley will get you that close yardage, I believe.
It's not a
I
race
just-
car. It's going to be a freight train, by the way.
I think the Eagles should win that division by a mile. The Giants and the Commanders are they're
You can say
out.
Redskins,
So-
bro. The Redskins. The Redskins.
They're out.
The Washington
I did want to bring up that
Redskins.
there was an interesting back page report from the Eagles, right? Like, oh, we don't know what's going on. They went on that slump at the end of the season to finish out the season, and they just couldn't figure out why was that happening, losing the game. The actual truth of what went on there was the back page report is that AJ Brown took down one of his teammates' wives, and that created a very, very hostile locker room.
You think?
And then Sirianni,
Maybe.
of course, did not. Part of your job as a professional head coach is to manage personalities and the egos that you have. You got to do what's right, buddy. Like,
So what do you do? What do you do?
You got to cut the guy,
Hey,
coach.
who are you cutting? The guy whose wife got slept with? Because you ain't cutting the receiver. Coach, you're not cutting the receiver. Oye, papo, por favor, ¿a dónde? Déjate esa muela. You wouldn't have cut him. You would have called him into your office. You might have blown a gasket, but you weren't cutting him.
Listen, this is a family show.
Por favor, bro.
But coach, you can't take back the dick down.
Déjate ese descaro. You're not gonna cut the
So
receiver.
that was the back page report, right? Like obviously it's one of those things that they tamp down.
Is he gonna cut the receiver? Is he really gonna? Is Frank Morales? Is he gonna cut the receiver?
In all seriousness, I would have to know who the.
Yeah, so you could cut that guy.
I need to know who.
So
the,
you could cut
I
that
need,
guy.
I need to know who the taru is.
Exactly. So you could cut him. Hey, bro, listen, man. Thank you. We're sorry, but you
don't get rid of talent.
Come on, dude. Get the F out of here.
Let's leave it at that.
Por favor.
You don't get rid of
What are you
talent.
talking? Come on.
You got to do something though.
Well, yeah,
You
you
have
do.
to have a
You bring him
conversation.
in, you talk to him, and then you bring the other guy. You go,
have
hey,
to have
thank you. We
another
appreciate your time
conversation.
here. It was
And
great.
then the other guy has to disappear.
Or listen, they made us offer. They made us an offer we couldn't refuse. We have had it. It really hurts to get rid of people.
There's
And-
nothing else. There's nothing malicious about that. I'm saying
Well,
that
yeah.
person just cannot be in the same room
Te
anymore.
digo. Vamos de
With
vai.
that. Listen, talent overtakes everything in this sense. The Eagles will do anything to be better than the Cowboys. That's all I know.
And the Giants, for that matter.
Yeah, right. Like I said, Giants and the other team.
Listen, honestly,
they're already out.
those
It's a
are
two-team
personal.
race.
Those are personal issues that have nothing to do with the job.
It has everything to do with the locker room. I'm sorry.
Okay, but it has nothing to do with the job. This is a job. We're not in high school. We're not in. We're in a professional setting. Okay.
The teams that win the title have things like this happen too. They don't let it bother them.
I mean,
The teams that lose
I'm not
are the
here
ones that have
supporting
the
it.
ball.
I'm not going to support it. But again, this is a
100%.
professional
happen.
situation.
But so what the situation with that is from what I understand, connecting the dots is Jalen Hurts' issue is Sirianni, you're a little bitch, for lack of a better term, for not handling this the right way.
Right. Okay.
And Jalen Hurts, I guess, is coming out again, and we don't know. Like we don't know what the actual facts are. That is just what the underbelly report was, right, from the boots on the ground.
the
and
underbelly. Whose belly were you under?
the local media.
You were under the local media's belly?
Okay,
Is
here
that
we
where
go.
you
Here
were
we
at?
go. Here, we're starting the innuendos.
No, I'm following your lead. That's the lead you gave me.
This is why
so
we can have nice things.
I'm asking.
We're going
wondering.
to end this segment right here before the wheels fall off the wagon, and we're going to be right back with our divisional reports.
Can't identify sources.
We're back with segment 2 of the show, right? What's become a little bit of a tradition entering the football season for us over these past 3 years, right? We go around the league and preview each division in the NFL. today we're going to look at the NFC West, right? Pretty competitive division. Okay, obviously the San Francisco 49ers have ran that division, all right, for the better part of 4 years. But after a down year with the Rams, right, they may be, solid competitors in that division. Don't know if they have enough to, overtake the 49ers, but we got Coach Emeritus here who's going to give us some solid insight with numbers and statistics to kind of back up what we think, what we believe, and see with our eyes. So, Coach, take it away. Throw it down.
Well, again, I do have the 49ers as the number one team in that division. They are looking at, again, the worst schedule in terms of net rest throughout the year. Starting from week 7 on, they play the number 4 most difficult schedule of opponents, and they are at rest disadvantages in 6 of those 11 games. They're going to play Kansas City when Kansas City's coming off their bye. We know how good Andy Reid is, and Kansas City off a bye. They're playing the Cowboys when they're coming off their bye week. Seattle, Buffalo, Chicago's coming off a mini bye, and Arizona when Arizona has some extra rest, with San Francisco coming off of Monday Night Football. So again, it's going to be a tough sledding from week 7 on. That might be a good time to go ahead and take the points ATS against them. They might win the games, but I don't know if they're going to be able to cover. And honestly speaking, last year they did struggle in games where they, towards the end of the season, they won real tight, and they ended up, I think, going like 4-3, 5-3, something like that towards the end of the season. So again, they're also, as good as Purdy has been, they played some really bad pass defenses last year. They're stepping up in who they play this year as far as defensive efficiency is on the back end. So we're going to see if Purdy is going to be worth it.
Remind me again how, when the schedules come out, right, it's an average of your schedule from the past the 2 years before, or your record. Like, how does that work?
It has to do with your record, as well as there's already in place.
Because they change it every few years.
Yeah,
there's already 14 of the 17 games every year. You know what they are because they rotate each division,
conference and
each
division,
conference,
and division,
and you play
correct.
each division.
Correct,
team
and
twice.
each division, in your conferences, every 3 years you'll see that division again.
Right.
Conferences every 4 years.
And now they're bringing, since we have interleague player, what have you, with interconference play,
they get
an extra
like the Dolphin Green Bay game
Right.
is that kind of game for us because we play the NFC West.
Understood.
So that's where they're at there, and again they're going to play the 49ers, and that division plays the East. They're going to play the Dolphins, which are going to be tough. They play Buffalo. They get to beat up on New England, and they play the Jets.
Yeah, that's rough. I'm
Exactly.
looking at it now.
So again, then they're going to play Green Bay. So that's where they're at, and always remember, anytime they play divisional games, those division games are also very difficult because they know you the best.
Right.
Okay. They are in luck that you have a little storm.
We have thunderstorms on the
A
horizon.
little storm on the horizon for San Francisco.
Lightning alert.
So again, I do have the Rams as number 2 in that division, even though, again, I mean, their schedule is also going to be tough, and especially on the defensive side of the ball. They're going to play the number 3 most difficult offenses or schedule based on offenses in the league. They have a new defensive coordinator. So again, I think that's going to put them in a very difficult position. Their O-line is still a concern. Today, Matthew Stafford came off the field with a hammy. So, he's getting. It doesn't matter. He's got to drop back.
He's got no
back, baby.
fast twitch.
He's got to drop back,
in
baby.
his lower hemisphere.
I think that new mattress commercial is kind of messing with him. I think he might have to change the mattress. He likes it hard. He likes it soft, and she likes it hard. I don't know, something like that. I don't know how that commercial goes.
I still haven't.
But it's one of those. And again, when you compare their offense and their defense, they have the number one most expensive offense in the league, and they have the number 32 least expensive defense in the league. So again, as we were talking a few minutes ago before we went off air, this is a professional league. This is a job. You pay, and you get what you pay for. So if you skimp too much on your defense is going to be too good.
Well, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, right? But it isn't there the kind of like the low payroll, right, for their defense? Isn't that a function of the fact that they got rid of a bunch of veterans, some guys retired, and they brought in a plethora of young guys?
They paid a bunch of guys on offense.
But they got a bunch of young guys on their rookie deal still.
But like I said, they paid a bunch of guys on offense.
Understood.
When it's the number one most expensive offense in the league,
but you can afford
paying a lot of guys.
But you can afford that when half of your defense is on a rookie contract.
You can afford it financially, but you can't afford it on the field, because then you're giving up, and you're in games that are over game. Like again, last year, if you take a look at the Rams, they were in shootouts. It was over and the over. And that's how Puka Nacua. All of a sudden, we found out who he was, because he started making plays.
Storm and Mormon.
So again, even though, yes, financially speaking, yes, they can do that, but on the field it hurts you. That's why you have to be somewhat balanced. You go ahead.
No. I wanted to kind of interject here with the Rams, and also remember, like, Blake Corum. Really excited to see him in that offense.
They've got some good looking guys.
Puka, again, rookie deal. Right. Obviously, you have your mainstays with Stafford. And Cooper Kupp. Sorry, I was.
And Kupp has to stay healthy.
I was like two girls.
Kupp has to stay healthy. The key with that is if Kupp stays healthy, then yes, they're a much better offense. It's just like Kyrie Williams. If Kyrie Williams can stay healthy, which is always a problem, that kid's a stud. That guy's a one and done. He's out of here.
Ferrari.
Yeah,
that's why Ferrari needs a lot of tune-up.
It's a tipo. He needs a lot of tune-ups. He needs a lot of car washes. They got to put the
oil
cover,
change.
They got to put the cover over
series.
him. They got to it's kind of rough. Then you come down to the Seahawks and the Cardinals. I really do like the Cardinals this year. It's year 2 of Gannon, the guy who used to be the defense coordinator for the Eagles. I do think that Kyler will have a much better year. I think he's got some weapons. They have some nice weapons on offense. I think the defense is going to step up and play much better. Again, between them and the Seahawks is a toss-up. We'll see how it works out. The problem with the Cardinals is they do have weeks 1 through 10. They play one of the toughest, if not the toughest, schedules. And then once week 12 comes in, then it does ease up. They got to make sure that Murray stays healthy throughout, and that way they can take advantage of those last 6 weeks.
Anecdotally, right, going off of what you were saying with the Arizona Cardinals, right? You have a Gannon-led defense.
Yes.
He is primarily it's a 40 front, but he kind of goes back and forth between a 30 and a 40 front. But his base defense is pretty.
And for those of you that don't know that terminology, they go from an even front to an odd front. So they go from a 40, which is a 4-man front, 30, which is predominantly a 3-man front, of odd and even, which they can get away with in the NFL.
Right. So my thing he was able to get away with being pretty vanilla with the Eagles because they had elite pass rushers up front across the board, right? Which is, product of them getting the 75 sacks a year. They went to Super Bowl and stuff like that. I don't know if he can replicate that success, right? Going into year 2, correct? Just because it is vanilla, right? So he might have to kind of spice it up a little bit with defensively, because he's not going to have the dudes that the Eagles had across the board.
But correct.
Can he adapt? Can he do that? Can he, lean more on his stunts and his, shifts and movements?
They went 4-13. Kyler was hurt. Defensively, they hung in there quite a bit. Okay, they do, like I said, they do face a lot of tough offenses this year, and especially in the first 10 weeks of the season, which is where it's going to be a problem. I do think that he is a smart enough guy to do what he needs to get done, to be able to keep them in the games, and for their defense to be able to at least be competitive. Because, like I said, I just think that he's a good coach. They know what they're doing. And if Kyler stays healthy, is their key. Okay? Again, they're going to face the Bills, the Niners, the Packers, the Dolphins.
They got a gauntlet there.
That first 10 weeks is going to be murderous. So again, if they can end up going 4-6, 3-7 those first 10, then they finish the season with the Seahawks, the Vikings, the Seahawks again, the Patriots, Carolina, and then they end the season on 2 tough games.
The JV schedule.
So again, it's just being able to at least, if they can split some games in their conference, they will be, or their division. I'm sorry, if they can split some games in the division, they'll have a chance to at least win 6-7 games, which is it's
an improvement.
It's a huge improvement.
Upper trajectory.
And then you got the Seahawks. The Seahawks come in with their quarterback is hurt. They have a new staff. We got to see now what the defensive-minded coach from the Baltimore Ravens does. Again, their defense is going to be a lot better. I think they're going to.
McDonald's a G.
I just don't know how much their offense is going to play, especially with the quarterback. The quarterback situation does concern me. I'm not sure how much he's going to be able to hold up. He's also getting up in age. He's an old man, so he's taking a beating.
He's a sprightly young man of like 34.
He's taking a beating. He's 34 with a 45.
He's like 34, 35. Yeah, it's crazy. Wait, he went 10 years between starting quarterback gigs. That's insane to me. But they bought into him. He's a starter, and we'll see what happens.
But I don't think he maxes out anyway.
No,
at all.
Right. Gino's not a. I mean, again, he had a good season last year. He did some good things last year. I don't know if he can do that again. Yeah. He does have receivers. They've got good receivers, but it's a new offense, new defense. So we got to see what direction they take. Again, they're over under 7.5. They should be the third team in the conference.
Let me look at this at a different perspective with you, Coach, and Grizz. Obviously, you're absorbing it. You're bringing it all in here, and we're waiting for some,
You always have to listen. The coach
some insight
all
here.
The details.
But I kind of want to attack this from a different perspective. We're on the NFC West. At what point do you see the Niners, kind of like making that turn where they become all of a sudden like a little too long in the tooth? If you get what if you understand what I'm saying.
If you look at the core of their players,
I feel like we're kind of getting to that point where it's maybe this year, and after that it may be blow up time because salary cap hell. It's just too much trigonometry and Tetris to be able to fit everybody in. Like it.
Well, I mean, if they're smart, again, and this year's going to say a lot, right? If they're smart and Purdy is their guy, they sign him at the end of the season. They go ahead and make the smart move and you sign him. And that, again...
Is he a $50 million guy?
Again,
you would have to...
I don't know. That's what I'm trying to say. We got to see what this season gives us and what he does against some of the better defenses that he's going to face this year. This year, he doesn't get cake. This year's a little tougher. This year, the defense...
Yeah, training wheels are off.
Correct. So, again, if he's able to step up and do what he needs to get done, then yes. Now you think about that $50 million, and you do it smartly. You pack it in where you need to.
Here you go, buddy. Here's a $75 million signing bonus.
You give yourself breathing room so you can sign your other core guys. Because except for the left tackle, I think everybody else is at a decent age. Other than Trent Williams, I think everybody else is still within.
Well, what I mean by that is the deals that are coming up, right? It's going to get to a point where they just can't fit everybody, within the cap. Like talking about Debo, we already have the issues with Ayuk, right? You talked about Purdy. Right. Eventually, McCaffrey, he's going to demand another deal. And that's going to be another 3 to 4 year mega deal because there's going to be somebody ready to snatch him up if the opportunity arises. And then they got a plethora of players. There are 2 middle linebackers who make that defense, in my opinion. Warner, specifically.
Greenlaw getting hurt.
Greenlaw is
that
obviously
killed them in the Super Bowl.
But
Greenlaw getting hurt was huge.
And it's crazy to me, right? Not to get off too much of a tangent, but like they went from the 2 monsters in Navarro Bowman and Patrick Willis to Greenlaw and I just said his name. Going blank here, but like they went from two
Warner.
They went from 2, elite to elite. in the middle there. Sideline to sideline guys. I mean,
to
just
me,
generational.
To me, the biggest thing is age, really. To me, football really is age and injuries. Right now, I'm looking at the roster. If I'm not mistaken, they've only got 3 guys that are 30 years old or older. That's it. They got 3 guys that are 30 or older. Everybody else
the
is
canary in the coal mine for me was them not being able to re-sign the DN that they got from Washington. Like that was, how do you not keep him? Right? Like that's a big loss there, right? You get him mid-season and then you can't re-sign him.
But then they pick up Leonard Floyd. I mean, they've done, again, they have enough to be able to do what they got to do. But again, new defensive coordinator. Kyle Shanahan's an offensive guy. Purdy's going to face some good defense. They open up against the Jets. That's going to be a telling game. It really is. Because that defense is good.
Yep.
As Jets Jets suck. That defense can friggin' play.
Yeah, I mean
so they're going to open up with the Jets, which is going to be a really good game. Okay? And then they don't have another one until they get KC. Everybody else is pretty like the next 4 games will be vanilla. But then they play KC and Dallas back to back. So that's to me, this is a big year for that young man.
Let's see what happens. Best thing about it is we get to watch it and see it play out.
That's it.
And pontificate on it from week to week. Pontificate. Grizz, you got anything? You're you're innocent bystander. You're absorbing it all.
No, the NFC West is pretty like exactly what Coach said. Everybody he said, I think it's going to finish exactly the same way. Still the Niners division. Few more years. You just are a young team. It's their team. The Rams, I think Stafford's last year.
Really?
Yeah.
I think
he's starting to break down a little bit. Trust
me.
And
it's different things that are breaking down.
Yeah.
They are different things that are breaking down. And again, like I said, age is the biggest
more
deterrent.
Like injuries in his career.
Right.
Than, like a Brady. He's got that mindset he can play forever, but I think it's his style.
And in that offense, and again, when you take a look at that offense, he needs to be somewhat mobile because it's a lot of off the stretch, the boot plays. It's boot plays off the stretch and things like that where they move the pocket.
They met each other too late in life. He got a Super Bowl.
Oh, I agree. Oh, yeah, he won a Super Bowl.
Oh, it validates him for sure.
It would have been a great.
Correct.
Him younger on this team would have been amazing.
I would have been scary.
I mean, yeah, and that's a perfect. You said it right. Like the guy was getting smacked in the lips for 12 years. With the Lions. And yeah, I mean, again, it validates him. I do agree. Right, the body's starting to break down with elbow. Now we got the hammy, the knee, the this, that. Never been the fastest, twitchiest guy in the Southern Hemisphere. But that arm, this guy.
He's got a point.
Second to none.
He's got a point.
The originator of the no look. The no looker. Gentlemen, I think that does it for us this week.
I'd like to cover one more thing, please. I'm sorry.
This guy's always with the PS.
I do.
PS, the encore.
Listen, guys, this weekend there's a huge UFC fight. This weekend it's Israel Adesanya.
Ooh, let's see what he has. Let's see what the style bender has.
Dricus du Plessis, which I really think is going to be a huge fight. Adesanya has a reach and a height advantage. Okay. However,
vulnerable.
He's only 3-4 in his last 7 fights. I think du Plessis coming in with a head of steam. If he can somehow get it to the ground, I think he's gonna really beat the crap out of Adesanya. I'm concerned with Adesanya's psyche. If he gets tagged, if he gets hit, or anything like that, I think that Israel is in for a tough night. Yes. So, the fight is very, very as far as the odds go is very close. I think it's 115, 105.
Who are you putting action on, sir?
Bro, right now, I don't have anybody. Right now, I'm in between. Like I said, I'm concerned. For Dricus, I'm concerned with the height and the reach advantage, which I think that Adesanya is very good at. Right? If he can keep the fight at a distance, I think he's going to be, he'll be able to dominate the fight and keep things at a distance, right? Again, like I said, it's at minus 120, minus 110. So the odds are very close. The fight I'm looking at is also the co-main event or what have you, which is Steve Erceg against Kai Kara-France.
It's a hell of a name.
Yes, it is. That's going to be a slobber knocker of a fight. I like Steve Erceg there. I do think that he's got a good shot to win that, and maybe even by knockout.
There you have it. The expert MMA breakdown.
Again, I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah, you're our expert.
But,
you're our coach emeritus.
But yeah, like I said,
That's why you're here.
I think it's going to be a really good fight.
You're the numbers guy.
The numbers guy. Oh.
Now, as the Grizz alluded to at the beginning of the show, it is pro football, college football focus from here till damn near Valentine's Day.
Yeah, next week we'll also put out some Power 4.
Deepy divey?
Not some deep dives yet, but not yet. I want to get a little closer to the
shallow
season.
dive. Shallow. We're in the flats. We're in the flats.
We're gonna go over some conference, some Power 4 conference football, and then as the season gets a little closer, we'll go ahead and throw out the G5.
There you have it. It's gonna be a fun one. Super excited. Right? No more of these summer blitzes. We are focused in, locked in on the best time of the year, the best time for sports. Right? There's going to be action from now until damn near freaking, like I said, Valentine's Day. We're in for it. We're happy to rock. As the school year starts and everything kind of gets into a flow here.
Damn.
No,
Damn.
Coach. Hey, man. You fighting the good fight. You got how many years you got left?
Too many. Still too many. 3? 2? No,
three,
I wish.
4?
Too many.
Oh,
Too many.
Okay, too many.
I'm not
too
that
many.
old. I just look a little older though.
There you go. Yeah, it's
as long as you stay away from people's underbellies, we'll be all right.
Grizzled veteran. There you go. That does it for us this week, ladies and gentlemen. Remember to follow us. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, everything else.
Twitter.
X, right? X, not
X,
Twitter anymore.
X, Twitter.
The
Twitter
bird,
X.
the bird one.
Twitter X.
And, engage with us. Text us at the description in our bio. There's a link there, right? Get into the show. You want to come on as a ringer? Make it happen. We're here for it. That does it for us this week. Looking forward to next week. 2 coaches, 1 Grizz. Out.